On tonight's episode, we sit down with 8 News Now's sports anchor Chris Matthews, look into a real-life version of Battleship, and hold court with our very own Game On panel. All that and more, so stay tuned. It's Game On. Welcome to Game On. I'm Austin Ennick.
And I'm Jordan Harrison.
Well, Jordan, we both know the UNLV Intramural program is always creating new events for students and staff to participate in. Reporter Justin Fuller was in attendance at the inaugural Battleships tournament. Take a look.
The UNLV intramural staff hosted the first annual game of Battleship to the UNLV community, and I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about this.
Each team consists of 2 men and 2 women in the boat and also a skipper. Each team gets 4 buckets and they get a water gun. And so basically this water gun is what they use to take the water out of the boat. And so we just kind of play. We put 15 minutes on the clock, and then from that point we just see who can get the other boat sunk.
4 teams participated with the mindset of winning, but things didn't pan out for some of the teams.
It was really hard to steer the boat, and that was fun because it was a challenge, but it was hard, it was fun. I didn't really enjoy too much of it because we lost.
Everybody should have performed like me. I was out there just trying my best.
Not losing no more.
On a serious note, we probably should have evened out the weight a little bit better in our boat.
Overall, the staff is always looking for new ideas and ways to improve intramurals for staff and students.
We're always open to suggestions, ideas as to how to make an event better. So whatever anybody wants to come up with, we'll take a look at it, and we'll see what works, what didn't work.
Players are already planning on participating next time.
Oh yeah, we're coming back next semester, or whenever we do it again, next semester, we're winning.
Next year about this time, you can count on me holding up that trophy and with one of those red shirts, because I don't like to lose. I will never lose in this sport ever again.
For Game On, I'm Justin Fuller.
Thank you, Justin. Well, changing gears a little bit, reporter Carl Winder has more on a very special walk for a very good cause. Have a look.
Thousands of people ran, walked, or jogged at the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure, an event that brings awareness toward breast cancer, and each person has their own reason for being there.
This is my 3rd year, and I will continue to do it, until I can't do it anymore.
Dean Lewis is a 3-year survivor of breast cancer and has participated in the walk since that time, and she's excited by the amount of people that come each year.
Thousands of, great support. It's just overwhelming to see the kind of support that we do have.
Some people came out with the place they work with just to show their support.
We're here for our company vet with Nevada Corporate Headquarters, so supporting all the survivors out there.
And they had some advice for the people who didn't make it.
Get off the couch and do something positive. Stop sitting there and watching it or complaining that nothing gets done. What are you guys, contributing to stuff like this?
The race not only brought out supporters and survivors, but it also had people who were racing for loved ones. One of those people is Barbara Bailey, who lost her daughter to breast cancer in 2012. She and her family race in her memory.
We did it last year when she first was diagnosed, and it seems like a lot more people right now. It's a big turnout, and it's great to see everybody come out and hopefully find a cure.
For Game On, I'm Carl Winder.
Thank you, Carl. Now let's send it over to Austin, who is sitting down with Channel 8 sports anchor Chris Matthews.
That's right. Thank you, Jordan. Joined now by Channel 8 News Now sports anchor Chris Matthews. Chris, thanks so much for being here.
I appreciate you inviting me on. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, whenever you can talk sports, it's a good thing, right?
Always a fun time talking sports. Let's talk about you first, though, how you got started in broadcasting and how you planted yourself here in Las Vegas.
Well, I graduated from the University of Utah back in the day, worked radio in Salt Lake for a number of years, was a UPI correspondent. Back then they had the Associated Press and they had the United Press International, so they had the UPI. And while I was working radio, I worked for the UPI and did all the jazz stuff, BYU, Utah, all the sports basically in Salt Lake, and kind of on the side after work. But I was a sports director, news director of a number of stations. My last station in Salt Lake City was great though, because it was an all-service, big, powerful AM station where it was total personality, news every half hour, and I hosted a half-hour community show called. I think it was U-Talk or something, but I could invite anybody I wanted on. I could do anything. I could get Karl Malone. I could get a senator. I could do it. I could do whatever I wanted to do. So I talked to a lot of people, met a lot of people, and it was a blast. So from there, I did a little bit of Weber State. Those familiar with Ogden, Utah, know Weber State University, and did some play-by-play for their Wildcats football and basketball. And then from radio, I went to television in Idaho, back to New York, here in Las Vegas, and that kind of says the story.
Been all over the globe here in the nation.
Wanted to get back in the West because I'm from Utah, my wife's from Idaho, so I thought, you know what, we have a couple kids. If we can get back to the West, it won't be so far to go and see grandma and grandpa, and so that's kind of why we decided to come back to this part of the earth, and Las Vegas has been great. I always say that Las Vegas isn't a great sports town as an ongoing town, but it's a terrific, probably the best sports event town.
Well, let's talk about that. How is
fun.
it covering sports in a town that doesn't have a professional sports team?
Yeah, so there's always things going on here. Of course, you got UNLV, basketball, football,
right.
and the other sports, and we try to do our best covering those. And I think we do a pretty good job. We have the coaches show, so we get to know the basketball coaches and football coaches, and so that's a lot of fun. So we kind of start with UNLV, and then it seems like every weekend you've got something going, whether it's golf or a boxing, a UFC event, or someone coming into town for some charity thing. So there's this, you got the PBR,
right.
NFR. So you have so much stuff, NASCAR.
Right.
So it's always something happening, whether they're preparing for the event, whether they're hyping the event, promoting the event, getting ready for it, covering the event, talking about the event after it's over. So, I mean, there's just so much going on in this town. It's a unique town.
Right, UNLV sports. Do you have a favorite sport that you get to cover here in Las Vegas?
Probably UNLV basketball. I love the Running Rebels like everybody else does, right? I mean, everybody likes, following the Running Rebels. But football's a lot of fun. If they'd win some games, it'd be more fun. But I still like college football also. But they just can't get over that hump for whatever reason. I don't know what it is either, because some schools can just luck into a good year, it seems like, every now and then.
Right.
UNLV they can't even luck into a good year. But hopefully Bobby Houck's getting this thing turned around. He's got some good players. In fact, I noticed I think they are the 10th team, somewhere in the top 10 in terms of returning players back from last year. So, that experience has got to say something. So hopefully they'll get it turned around.
Obviously important keeping that core together. We just saw their schedule released here coming up for the upcoming season for UNLV football. Do you think it's favorable to them?
I like that schedule because it's not really, really difficult, although they are moving the game from, Sam Boyd out over to Arizona,
right.
playing Glendale there in the stadium. But I think it's a good schedule because it's not so tough and brutal that, you don't have Utah on the schedule anymore. You don't have BYU on the schedule anymore. So it's a little bit easier. But you got Boise, that's always fun, but it's not as difficult as it has been.
Right. A little Pac-12 flavor in there as well.
Exactly.
Final question for you, Chris. Favorite sports teams that you have personally?
Well, growing up in Salt Lake City, we didn't have a professional franchise except for the basketball team. So football-wise, I always kind of like the Niners, the Chargers, and this is odd, the Broncos, because they're kind of the two West teams. He's a Bronco guy. But those are the kind of teams I follow. Utah Jazz, before that, the old ABA. I go way back to the ABA days when I was a kid getting autographs from Julius Erving and all those guys. Right. It's kind of cool because as a little kid, I would get these autographs of these players coming through. And then now to be old enough, I met Julius Erving at this golf thing at the Michael Jordan Celebrity Invitational.
Great.
So to meet a guy that you thought you just kind of idolized, and now you're getting his, doing a story on him, that's kind of cool.
Perfect. Well, Chris, thanks you so much for joining us in the studio today.
You bet.
Time now for our first break, but when we come back, more Game On. Stay tuned.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That moment?
It was a moment that changed my life. I'd been training with my team for months, and now we had been called up for the first time. The real deal. Wildfires were getting dangerously close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
What you doing, Dad?
My favorite thing.
Really, Dad? What are you doing?
Paying bills. Every month a stack of them come, just as regular as the rain.
What's this one?
That's a special one, son. I paid it first.
How come?
It's money for my retirement account. I put some money aside each month just like I was paying a bill.
Wouldn't you rather buy something?
I don't want to work forever, and I don't want you to have to support me in my old age. In a way, I'm buying peace of mind. I'm on the installment plan.
Something's not right.
My first symptoms were
constant tingling in my toes.
Had double vision. They said you have multiple sclerosis.
Kind of had to get a grasp on reality.
I had to adapt and change very rapidly.
I had to learn how to drive with my hands. Yeah, that was interesting.
A symptom may cause you not to be able to do that anymore. And at one point, I wasn't able to do any of those.
Since I've been cycling, it's definitely helped my walking.
It's a fantastic opportunity to be working together with a common goal of curing MS, and sharing is the key.
Hey guys, welcome back from the break. Very fortunate to be joined in studio today by Kristen Kidman, the Fox 5 producer, and Miss Elizabeth Watts, a reporter and anchor for Fox 5. Ladies, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Of course, let's talk about your guys' journey, how you got back to Las Vegas. Kristen, let's start with you.
Well, I started off here at UNLV. I was one of the first Studio G alumni, I guess, to graduate. I got an internship at Channel 8. I was hired in the middle of my internship. I worked there about a year and a half as an assignment editor, then an associate producer. Then I got hired at Fox 5. I did the mornings for almost 2 years as a producer there. And now I am on weekends with Miss Elizabeth here.
That's right. And I also am a UNLV graduate. I graduated from the journalism department in 2005 before all of this came about, unfortunately, but it was still a blast. And I ended up working at Channel 3 here in town as a producer. Then I got a job reporting, my first on-air job in Yuma, Arizona. I was there for a year and a half, and then I came back to Fox and got the job here. I was very lucky. And I've been here for more than 3 years now. And she's my producer on the weekends, and we have so much fun together.
Now, did you report sports in your time in Yuma?
I did. I did some sports. I got to do a little bit of everything, but sports was fun because I like sports. I don't know all the stats and stuff, but I like to keep on top of my teams.
Right, and what teams do you guys follow?
Well, definitely
Runnin' Rebels.
The Runnin' Rebels.
We can't not follow them. We love everything Runnin' Rebels.
Yeah. I'm always in a UNLV t-shirt on my days off, Runnin' Rebel stuff. It's sad because I work nights on Wednesdays and Saturdays, which is usually when the games are. Right. So if they have a Thursday game, I try to go, or I try to get a Wednesday night off every once in a while to go cheer the team on, but I'm always watching on TV or listening on the radio. Just love them.
Big year coming up for Coach Hawk in the fall for the Runnin' Rebels football team. What are you guys expecting out of them this year?
You know, I've been supporting Coach Hawk this whole time. We know it takes years to get a good football team going, especially here in the desert where it's so hot. So I'm hoping that, you know, we can get some more wins this upcoming season. I'm standing behind them and hoping for that.
Yeah, he became the coach my last year at UNLV, so I've been rooting for him this whole time too, and he's such a nice guy. I've met him a bunch of times, and I think it can happen.
Yeah. We just need to keep supporting them, and people need to show up and you know, cheer them on, show the football players support because they're out there every day working so hard. They want to win. They don't want to lose these games. And last season, we were coming close.
Right.
A
Very
lot
close.
of the games we could have won, but then we just missed it in the last minute.
Triple overtime game against Minnesota,
Yeah.
really good example as well. All right, let's talk about Jim Livengood announcing his retirement. With you guys and your jobs, it's structured obviously differently how you approach it. How does a producer approach a story as opposed to a reporter and anchor approaching a story?
Well, with the story like that, I would try to, you know, maybe do like highlights of his career and, you know, kind of introduce like who he is to the audience and like why he's such like an important asset to our community. Try to build it that way so then the audience actually cares. You know, this isn't just, you know, this UNLV, you know, it's more than that. You know, he's been a major figure in our community. That's how I would try to build that up.
Yeah, because not all the viewers will know who he is, so we need to introduce him, show why he's important, and then from a reporter perspective, you'd want to talk to him, get that emotional sound on why he made this decision, talk to some, maybe some players or coaches on how they feel about it and what they're looking forward to next, and talk to some fans about how they're feeling, because this is obviously, it'll be a big loss for UNLV.
For UNLV, he's done so much for them,
Oh,
and
yeah.
from the viewpoint of us being here at UNLV and you guys being alums, he's done so much for this school.
Yeah, we're sad to see him go.
That is a very sad announcement.
Hopefully we'll get someone good in. You know, Lon Kruger, when he left, I was devastated, but now we have Coach Dave Rice, and, you know, so hopefully the transition won't be so tough for us.
All right, professional sports teams. You guys follow any big professional sports teams that you like?
If they're from Boston, I love them.
Yeah.
So Red Sox, Celtics, you name it. If they're Boston, I am in love.
I was in Arlington, Texas. I was born in Arlington, Texas, and so I grew up huge Dallas Cowboys fan my whole life, even though everyone likes to dog on them because we haven't been winning lately, but huge Dallas Cowboys fan. I like the Dallas Mavericks, although I don't follow the NBA as much as college basketball. And the Texas Rangers, and I also like the Texas Longhorns.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's perfect, the whole Texas Miss. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much
Thanks
for joining
so
me. And
much.
Kristen, thank you as
Thank
well.
you for having us.
Ladies, you guys take care. Time now for a short break. When we come back, more of Game On. Stay tuned.
You could choose to join a gang. You could try the latest drugs. You could even choose to drop out of school. You can try to avoid the difficulties in life with a quick fix, or you can face them head on. She did. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Welcome back. I'm joined now by sports broadcast coordinator Kim Alexander, sports psychology coach Dan Cox, graduate assistant Sarah Vineyard, and student athlete Alex Bull. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Former UCLA star Ed O'Bannon is suing the NCAA for using his likeness. The case will appear in court, federal court in July 2014. So, guys, my question to you is, should athletes be paid in college? What do you think, Kim?
No, I think it works the way it is. It's kind of like a starting job where they do get a lot of benefits. They get coaching, they have access to scouts, they've already got a lot of things that are worth money. And if they do well, they can step it up to the next where they actually get paid cash.
Does anybody have a different feel on what she thinks?
Well, I do. If you look at it, you're talking about elite Division I athletes. Division II, Division III. The Division III, no pay, no scholarships, nothing. Division II, limited number of scholarships. So not everybody that's on that team is a scholarship athlete. So they're not reaping the benefits that you see in the elite Division I teams. So yes, I think they should be paid. Especially the ones that are not being compensated at all.
I totally agree with that. Let's take what you do, for instance, with sports production. Well, this year we produce basketball, softball, baseball. If we're doing that with student athletes and using them to represent us, why shouldn't we pay them?
Like I said, I think especially because they do get all this training and preparation to go further later on, and especially with all the equipment they get to use, the food, the housing and things like that all add up to a good benefit for a starting place, and they can work their way up.
At the college level, though, you're not a professional. I mean, like what you said earlier, you're training to be a professional. If you're going to pay one athlete, you need to pay them all, Division I, II, and III, and I think that could create problems later on.
Right, who gets paid? That's a really good question. And women athletes and different level of athletes in different sports, it's going to really make it hard to draw the line of who gets paid and who didn't.
But you mentioned earlier about athletes moving to the next level to get paid. What happens if they don't get to the next level?
Then they get a great education.
So, speaking of the great education that you guys just mentioned, so do you think that the benefits that the athletes get from college is enough fair compensation for what they do for the schools and bringing all the money they bring into?
Again, you're talking about the Division I elite athletes. When you look at all the other athletes, unfortunately, they're not bringing money in, but they're doing the same job that a Division I athlete is. A Division III quarterback very rarely is going to see a chance at the NFL. So you have those problems. You have the women athletes, that there's very few opportunities for women athletes to go to a professional level. Track and field, basketball, softball, that's about it.
But there are also elite athletes on elite teams that never see professional sports as well. I mean, they'll go into business, teaching, or whatever their degree is, and they're never going to see the pro side.
And that's exactly it. It can lead to more than just the pro side. That's the benefit of school, is their experience here can lead to another career. They could become coaches, they could become physical therapists, or they can become other announcers in the field. There's a lot of openings it does, even if they don't make it to a pro level.
So with the athletes who you guys say aren't going to go pro, what if they don't do that well in schools where they won't have a great education? All they know is sports.
Well, that would be their fault. The word student does become before athlete, so mainly they should be here for school. However, not everyone has the same let's say, I can't think of the word, but not everyone is into education. Not everyone is education savvy. They are athletes. Let's take Bennett, for instance. He came in here, he was a dominant force in high school.
Okay, well, hold that thought. Time now for a quick break. When we get back, more Game On. Stay tuned.
At what age is the color that your skin was meant to be no longer beautiful? Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Melanoma is the second most common cancer in teens and young adults 15 to 29. And one person dies from melanoma every hour. It's time. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
If you could see anything in the world, what would it be?
I'd love to see Paris.
I like to see cupcakes falling from the sky.
My daughter, married and happy.
I want to see things the way I used to.
Chances are, someone you love may one day be affected by macular degeneration or glaucoma. Log on to seeabettertomorrow.org or call 1-800-437-2423 to learn about glaucoma and macular degeneration. Call 1-800-437-2423 or log on to seeabettertomorrow.org.
I just want to see more of the things I love.
Welcome back from the break. Alex, before the break, you were mentioning Anthony Bennett. What was you going to finish the statement?
Yeah, Bennett is a one and done, what they call. Came in for a year and now he's leaving. What happens in the NBA if he gets injured? What does he have to fall back? He was an NBA player for a few games. Can he go far with
That was
that?
his choice and chance he took by leaving school early. He didn't have to leave school early.
But he, like you said, if he got hurt in the second, third, or fourth year in college, he has no chance to then go to the NBA. So that hole is lost to him to have that opportunity for a career, for him to make money. And without that opportunity, he's lost. It has nothing to do with his education.
Well, if
It's
he
about
finishes his
holding him
degree,
back.
though.
What about if they were going to compensate players with money? Should they require a certain amount of years they have to stay in college?
I think they do. I think they
That-
would
that
say
would be-
they have to at
I think
least
you
two.
have to graduate.
You think you might have to
No,
graduate?
you can't say graduate because not everybody that enters college graduates from college.
But
But
then
you
you
have
can
to go
also-
4 years. I agree with
You
that.
also have the athlete who plays 1 year, says, well, I've got the money I need, I've got, that 1 year sports experience, and then just ditch. Where does that leave him with his college career if he gets injured? He has nothing to fall
Let's take
back
Anthony
on.
Davis, for instance, when he gets drafted #1, and he's had injury problems the whole season for, well, the now Pelicans. What happens if that does prolong and then he's going to have nothing to go on with in life?
Yeah, which is why you stay in the school
Yeah.
for the 4 years, exactly. And also offering scholarships that if you get a scholarship as a sports person, that if you do get injured, it should be required that you still are given a 5-year degree chance so that you're not just kicked out of school because you can't finish sports. So that's something that should be important
That's the big
too.
problem
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
So do you guys think if they started to pay college athletes, would it eliminate the sports scandals?
No, there's always going to be a scandal.
Yeah,
because
they would probably enhance them and they would be...
Somebody's going to want more money than they're getting now, so they're going to have to still pay under the table because you have to have a tiered system. The star athlete gets more than the walk-on. So the walk-on's then going to want under the table money.
But that's exactly with scholarships. The star person's going to get a higher scholarship
Right.
than a walk-on.
Correct.
You also see in professionals, there's scandals all the time and they get paid millions. I mean, I don't think money really has anything to do with it. There's going to be scandals regardless.
It's not really about money. It's more what certain rules the NCAA have. So like how many times they can contact a player. I think that would have to change for the scandals to stop.
Yes.
So, if it wouldn't decrease the scandals, then what do you think will decrease the scandals?
Scandals are a way of life. You're not just looking at athletes, politics, universities. The college I graduated from just had a terrible scandal with their SAT inflation, and they're one of the top 5 schools in the country. So it's always a problem.
Okay, well, thanks guys, Kim, Alex, Sarah, Dan. Now it's time for a quick break for our closing thoughts. Stay tuned.
For others, it may have just been a summer job. But for me, it was training. Now I'm an Air Force pararescueman, and my job is to save lives. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Winston, just one more inning, Grandma.
Ever notice how many things today kids can do without actually moving? A whole lot of things their parents used to do the hard way. So many kids' activities today seem to leave out the activity part, which makes exercise even more important for children. In fact, new research tells us the best time to enhance bone development is during childhood and adolescence. And just getting children to walk an extra 35 minutes a day could spare them the pain of thinning bones later in life. Healthy bones come from healthy habits. Encourage your kids to get up, get out, and get moving.
Hello. Hey, Grandma, how about another grape soda?
A public service message on building strong bones for kids from the Pediatric Orthopedic Society of North America and the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
Welcome back from the break. Well, Jordan, great discussion, a lot of valid points brought up. We also saw a couple great stories tonight, and I think you and I need to go on that intramural battleship team and create our own little battle.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun, but as long as I get to be the captain, you know, so I could channel my inner Jack Sparrow, Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh, Captain, my Captain. Well, that does it for this week's show. If you'd like to catch up on past episodes of Game On, all you have to do is go to unlvtv.unlv.edu. I'm Austin Nenning.
And I'm Jordan Harrison. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, have a good one, Las Vegas.